When you get a new camera, there is always a learning curve with the logistics of the camera, just how you use it, what all of the buttons do, what the dials do, because there's always something a little bit different. Sometimes it's just, how you hold the camera. So what I'd like to do is give you a tour of the D800 body. Okay, starting at the top of the camera, we have the power switch here and the shutter release button. Next, here's the exposure compensation button. And on the D800, there is a dedicated movie record button, and that's right here. Here is your mode button. And this is your control panel. This is where you'll find lots of the information on how your camera is set. And here is your release mode dial. I will show you a little bit more on this when we get to the back of the camera. And then with this is the release mode dial lock release button. This allows you to actually move the release mode dial. And then on top of that, there's the quality button, the white balance button, the ISO button, and the bracketing button. And pressing any of these buttons and turning the rear command dial will allow you to adjust the settings for each of those things. And then last, here is the hot shoe. Now looking at the front of the camera, we have the front command dial, which is actually called the sub-command dial. There's a lamp right here that serves a few purposes. It is the autofocus assist illuminator, the self-timer lamp, and the red eye reduction lamp. And here is the depth of preview button and the function button. And here's the lens mount. Here's the built-in flash. This pops up by pressing this button. This is your flash and flash compensation button. And this is the built-in microphone. And this cover covers two things. This is your flash sync terminal and your 10-pin remote terminal. Here's your lens release button. And right here you have your focus mode selector as well as your autofocus mode button. When you choose AF or autofocus on the focus mode selector, you can press the autofocus mode button and turn either of the dials on the camera to choose something different. You use the rear dial to select your focus mode, and you turn the front dial to choose your autofocus area mode. And you'll see that information as it's changing in the control panel at the top of the camera. On this side of the camera, under this cover, you have the external microphone connector, a USB connector, a headphone connector, an HDMI mini pin connector, and on this side of the camera is the memory card slot cover. You can use both an SD card and a compact flash card. On the back of the camera, I told you before that I would show you a little bit more of the release mode dial. So here's the release mode dial, and you can actually see your release modes by looking kind of at the back of the camera. Here's your viewfinder. And this is the eyepiece shutter lever. This is so that the eyepiece gets covered. Here is your trash button where you can delete things. This is your playback button. Here's your LCD screen. Your menu button. This button serves three purposes. It can protect images from being deleted when you're in playback mode. It also can be your picture control button or the help button. This button is for when you're in playback, you can zoom in, and this one, when you're in playback, you can zoom out. And this is your OK button. Next is the info button. I will definitely do a video on this because you can find out a lot of information on how the camera is set and actually change some of the settings from the info screen when you press this button. This is your memory card access lamp. If the camera is accessing the memory card, this light will light up. And this is your live view selector and the live view button. And this is a speaker. And this is actually the ambient brightness sensor. This controls the automatic monitor brightness. This is your focus selector lock. This will allow you to lock your focus area so that you can't change it. This is the multi-selector. Here's your main command dial, which I also call the rear command dial. This is your autofocus on button. And here's your auto exposure autofocus lock button and your metering selector. And this is the diopter adjustment control. That's it for the tour of the body of the Nikon D800, but keep your eyes peeled because I'll definitely be doing some more videos about the D800, like the menus of the D800. Let me know if you have any questions.